Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I am Axion.
I'm Scint.
We're continuing through the dimensional rift of Final Fantasy V and our discussion of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Getting close to endgame, I hope.
We're getting there, yeah.
Yay. So, over the course of the series, we've been introduced to a great many characters that we are encouraged... Okay?
Don't mind me.
Alright, that we are encouraged to look at as role models. And I think we talked about this a fair bit at the end of Half-Blood Prince. But here's where it really comes... Well, it's not that this is a new thing entirely, but Dumbledore has been like the primary parent figure for Harry throughout the book, given that things did not work out so well with Sirius for a variety of reasons. So Dumbledore has always been the figure that Harry looked up to without question. Never once wondered why Dumbledore had him do any of the things that he asked him to do, and just always saw him as a benevolent force for good in his life. So, when Dumbledore dies, obviously this is the time for retrospectives and eulogies about this very famous wizard who has done a lot of stuff in his life to,
His very, very, very long life.
As far as wizards go, yeah, but I don't know how old do many wizards get? I know he's like 100 something. Oh well, doesn't really matter. Dead now. But okay, what are you doing?
So, this boss, Azulmajia, his entire thing is blue magic. He casts his magic in a certain order, and there's one spell I missed before that I want to get now. And he casts it on the first round, but he's only got a 33% chance to do so, along with 2 other spells.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get him to cast the right spell, and he's not doing it. Carry on.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just really confused with what was going on there. But, yeah. So, surprising no one, Rita Skeeter is the one who decides to, be first on the scene with an expose about Dumbledore. And, Harry doesn't take it well. Like, at all. Because, well, it does not paint Dumbledore in the most positive light, which is never how Rita Skeeter has written ever. The only one who's in a positive light is whoever happens to be on her good side that day, or depending on how much drama she can milk out of something. So, Harry has never really known too much about Dumbledore, because he's never really talked to him about himself. Everything had to do with preparing Harry as a wizard and telling him he had to stand up to Voldemort and everything like that. But not so much about Dumbledore. So, Harry doesn't really have any means to disprove any of the things said. And the more he learns, the more he realizes there's more truth in what Rita's reporting, though likely heavily skewed because Rita gonna Rita.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Dumbledore defeated the Dark Lord Grindelwald, who had once been his best friend, and depending on which time we're in, read J.K. Rowling's tweets, possibly more than friend. It's really easy to read in more than just a platonic friendship between the two, but it's purely subtext, no matter what. The point is, they were friends, they're no longer friends, and Grindelwald has been in wizard prison, not Azkaban though, curiously, for quite some time. So that kind of actually makes me wonder if he was, like, the worst thing before Voldemort. Why was he not in Wizard Azkaban? Why was he not in Azkaban? Why was he not in Wizard Alcatraz?
No idea.
But on top of that was the suggestion that Dumbledore killed his sister because she was a squib. That turns out to not be true. she was, in fact, just a regular witch, but wizard children often manifest magic. A few muggle boys saw her and beat her very badly to the point where she was too damaged to use her magic anymore. And, taking care of the boys who brutalized his daughter is why Dumbledore's father ended up in Azkaban.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're basically in a Magic Grisham novel now.
Stop casting that. That's not the spell I want you to cast.
It's later revealed that, like, Dumbledore was there when his sister Ariana died, but he is to this day not sure whose wand actually did it, whether it was his brother Aberforth's, or Grindelwald's, because they all basically started yelling at each other, spells were flying, and Ariana came in to try and stop the fighting, or was just scared by the loud noises. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
So, but he and his brother have not been basically on speaking terms since that day for, understandable reasons. And yeah. But it takes Harry a long time to come to terms with the fact that he did not know his mentor as well as he thought he did. And, well, as we've said, this isn't the first time Harry's run up against this.
Mm-hmm.
He idolized his father, and the more he got to learn about James, the more he's basically learned that, no, he wasn't as great a person as I remember, at least not when he was my age. Maybe he matured and grew out of it as he got older, but it's still, like, as a bullied child, knowing he was a bully hurts. Seeing Sirius also be a bully hurts. Especially because Sirius doesn't seem to have grown out of it and still seems to be like, no, it's perfectly justified what he did, even though he's like a 30-year-old man at this point who really should have moved on with his life.
Mm-hmm. And Snape is kind of in the same bucket, just from the opposite side.
Yep. So, yeah. But, honestly, learning that your role models, your heroes, your parental figures are only human and are far more flawed than you want to think about them is a part of growing up. There is major cognitive dissonance that happens to you the first time you are confronted with the fact that my parent figure lied to me. My parent figure did this thing that they had told me that I should never ever do.
Yep.
And what you do with that kind of shapes you as a person. How can you react when the foundation for what you were basing yourself is destroyed? In Harry's case, he continues doing what Dumbledore told him to do, even though he now has very strong reasons to question Dumbledore's motives. Up to and including, as he learns almost at the very end, Dumbledore was essentially raising Harry to die. We learn this when he gets Snape's memory, and Dumbledore straight up tells Snape that this is what has to this is what has to happen because of the whole Horcrux situation that Voldemort accidentally created within Harry. He has to be willing to let Voldemort kill him to be sure that Voldemort can be killed for good. And in the little dream death space in Harry's head that we're never actually sure if it really happened, Dumbledore's defense is basically, I was pretty sure you would be okay.
It was a guess, but my guesses tend to be pretty good.
And then Harry named his son after him. Which, don't get... We'll talk about that later. I think there are many people in Harry's situation who might have cut and run. Who might have decided, Dumbledore clearly lied to me about too many things, maybe Aberforth is right, I shouldn't just take his word blindly. But it worked out that he trusted him. And I'm not sure if this is the right or wrong lesson to take away here, because on the one hand, no, you shouldn't trust people blindly. You should be able to use your critical thinking to, even with the people that you trust the most implicitly, assess for yourself whether or not their motives are pure at that moment. Because everybody has that selfish streak. Everybody might have something pushing them to make you make a decision that would not actually help you in any way. But on the other hand, isn't it nice to know that even flawed people can be trusted? Dumbledore was flawed. He was a very, very ambitious person who, in his own words, learned pretty early on that he was not to be trusted with power, which is why he never never became Minister of Magic. So, there's something to be said about that level of self-awareness. And the fact that even knowing that, well, he wasn't to be trusted with power, he could keep an eye out against those who would be even worse with it, and try to do what he could to keep the most people safe. And I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I can't disagree with that analysis. Just because that's kind of where Dumbledore left everything by the end. Was just with that entire situation. And Harry was basically left holding the bag for if all of this had gotten just... There they are. Like, if Dumbledore had been wrong, he would have been sending Harry to basically end his own life, throw himself in front of Voldemort, throw himself in front of the bullet in front of Voldemort, and then what? He'd just be just... There you are. That would just be the end of it. Angry eyeball. Ow.
I'm not really sure what else I can add here.
I don't think there's a lot to add. I think we've kind of, more or less set this one. And I forgot to reset my abilities. This is going to be a tough fight.
Well, we'll pick that up next time then, and good luck, Axion.
Well, see y'all then. Oops.